is Jordan. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I want to reread. I do like rereading books, but sometimes I'm just not in a mood to reread them because of how big my TBR shelves are. But I picked 10 books that I want to read because I haven't read them for years, or they're books that have sequels coming up, or they have book to movie adaptation that's coming out soon that I want to reread. So let's get started. The first book I want to reread is The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. I actually have not read this book since I was in high school, so like during my junior year of high school, but it's about this man who's a Marine who found this photo while he was in Iraq or Afghanistan. I don't remember which place, but then he ends up finding her and he ends up falling in love with her. I have, like I said, I haven't read this book since high school. I actually seen the movie before I read the book, but they follow the book really well, so I actually want to reread it because I love rereading Nicholas Sparks books. Plus, I want to read his other novels, but would be one of my rereads. The next book I want to reread is Graceling by Christian Cashore. I actually have not read this since I was a freshman in high school, like sometime in high school as well. I have not read the rest of the series, but I actually forgot what it's about. I think it's about this girl who doesn't have a Graceling, like Gracelings has a ability. I actually don't remember, but I read this when it was hyped, but I have not read the rest of the books, but I think I've skimmed through it when I've read it, but I want to reread it so I can, hopefully I'll like it and read the rest of the series. The next book I want to reread is The Adventures of Robin Hood by Howard Pyle. It's funny how I have a classic on my reread pile, but you probably would have guessed Peter Pan would be, but I would like to reread it. But with Robin Hood, I have not read it since I was in the 7th grade, and I love the story since Disney's version, and I've read it and I loved it. But they have a movie adaptation coming out soon this year, but it comes out in November, that's all I know. But Kevin and I, if you haven't seen my reading vlogs or one of my other videos, he's a guest in. Kevin is my boyfriend who has his own YouTube channel, like his channel down below, and I'm a co-host on his channel. But anyways, he and I have been talking about what movies we want to see this year, and the Fantastic Beasts sequel comes out in November, and I'm like, I know that's on top of my list, but the trailer for Robin Hood looks so good that I'm like, I'm so torn, but I still want to reread it before seeing the movie, even though the Fantastic Beasts sequel is coming out this same month. The next book I want to reread is Percy Jackson and Olympians, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I mentioned this on sometime in my videos that I only read the first 2 books of the Percy Jackson series, but I have not read the rest of them for whatever reason, and I really want to read the rest of but I haven't been in the mood to read the series for whatever reason, but I really, really want to reread the first 2 books and then read the rest of the books and the spin-off series because I love the Percy Jackson series. It's not like I'm not a fan or anything. Don't send me the hate comments on that. I just have not been in the mood to finish the whole series, but now I'm like, I just really want to finish reading the series so I can read the spin-off series, because the spin-off series and the other series that Rick Riordan wrote sounded awesome, and I just want to read his original series before going to the others. The next book I want to reread is Carbo by Stephanie Garber. Legendary is coming out this month, and I want to reread Carbo before I read it. I've read Carbo on audiobook, and I'm going to be reading Legendary on audiobook because Carbo is so good at audiobook. If you don't know what the series is about, it's about this girl who's been writing a letter to this guy who's the leader of Carnival, but then her sister goes missing and she has to find her. I love Carnival so much, and I have the UK edition up there. I love the book so much, and I want to read Legendary so bad. And it's told by tell his point of view, which is Scarlet's sister, the main character, and I'm actually curious about her perspective of the story, so I'm excited about that, and I just want to reread it because the book is so good. And hopefully the sequel will be as good as well. Next book I want to reread is If I Stay by Gail Forman. I have not read this sequel of the If I Stay duology, but I read this before the movie came out. I don't remember when, but I know I've read this and then I watched the movie. It follows the book really well, but I'm not sure how well because it's been years since I've read If I Stay, so I'm hoping the second one would be as good. I have not read any Gail Forman's other books, but I want to, but I just want to reread If I Stay and then the sequel of it after that. The next book I want to reread is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. I actually got the sequel Fireblood recently, and I want to read this before I go into Fireblood. If you don't know what this series is about, it's about this world where it's ruled by Frostbloods, but there's one girl who's Fireblood, which is forbidden, and she ends up teaming up with other rebel Frostbloods to kill the king. I really enjoyed this, even though I was slowly reading it during my Christmas break. If you haven't seen my 24-hour readathon for that, I'll link it down below so you guys can check it out. I tried to finish it for the 24-hour readathon, but I just got out of school for Christmas break that I'm like kind of in a reading slump, but I did not give up on Frostblood because I love the book so much and I want to read Fireblood as soon as I'm done rereading this. The next book I want to reread is Spindle Fire by Lexa Highlighter. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. I know the sequel just came out and I gave this a 4-star rating. I'm hoping when I reread this, it would be 5 stars because it's nothing wrong with the story or anything. It just took me so long to finish it. It took me like a month to read this, but hopefully the next time I read it, it won't take me that long and I could read the sequel. My next reread is probably obvious to you guys, is Everland by Wendy Spinelli. I actually want to reread this before I get to Umberland and Ozland because I love the book so much and I want to read the rest of the series this year. I don't want to wait another year to read the sequels, but I definitely want to reread it before I get into the sequels of the Everland trilogy. The last book I want to reread is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. If you do not know what The Hunger Games is about, where have you been? It's been up to hype since it came out, but I honestly want to reread this because it's one of my book series of all time, and I don't think my opinions would change after reading it because I'm a big fan. Plus, I just love The Hunger Games so much that I haven't reread it in a long time, so I definitely want to reread it and know my opinion wouldn't change because I'm a big fan of The Hunger Games. So that is all for my the books that I want to reread. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and comment down below some of the books that you want to reread. So, because I'm curious, because I know some people want to reread even though their TBR piles are big. And if you want to follow me on social media, I have Facebook under Lost Reader, and I have Twitter and Instagram on Lost Reader 19, and I have Goodreads. So check out my Goodreads page down below. And I have a big pile. I have a big TBR pile, so I think everybody can relate to that because they have a big pile of books that they need to read, but they also want to reread some of their favorites. And if you like my channel, hit subscribe if you haven't already so you won't miss any new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!